Howdy folks, it's old Magnus Böner. Prost! First thing I want you to do is smack that subscribe button for me. You're not going to want to miss any of the epic content that I keep bringing for y'all. Today we're going to make lasagna. We're going to start out by making the lasagna sauce. Let's talk about that. I use canned tomato products. The reason for this is when you buy fresh tomatoes at the grocery store, they're not actually ripe, even though they're red. They've been treated with a process to look ripe, even though they're not. They're very low quality tomatoes. The tomatoes that are grown that are going to go into a can are actually ripe at the point that they're canned. And then they sit on a shelf, they're good to go. If you grow your own tomatoes in a garden, you can make great pasta sauce or red sauce, marinara, out of those. But it's going to be slightly different. You're going to have to cook longer, get rid of some of the moisture. I use the cans, it's easiest. We're going to saute some onion. We're going to do that in clarified butter or ghee. You could also use olive oil. That's probably more traditional. I like to use butter because butter tastes great. We've got some fresh basil. Most of my herbs and aromatics are going to be dried, but I like to use the fresh basil to get the freshest taste possible. And then I've got some fresh rosemary and fresh sage, just because those happen to be growing out here in the yard. I'm using Hempler's brand Italian sausage. I use the mild because I'm going to add my own heat to the recipe with some ground chipotle powder because I put that shit in everything. I've used another brand called Arceros or Iceros, I think is how it is. They're both kind of local to me. Maybe you live somewhere else and you've got somebody else making local Italian sausage. Use that. Hempler's is up in Bellingham, Washington. They do a great job. Alright, let's get after it. So I've got a big pot and a cast iron skillet here. Both of them are sitting on medium heat and are ready to get going. I like to caramelize and saute my onions separate than my sausage. You could do them together. I prefer to do them separate because that way I can really work up some color and some flavor on that onion and get some nice subtle caramely notes, where often if it's with the sausage there's too much moisture present and you don't get that same caramelization. I'm going to use about 2 tablespoons of this clarified butter. Truth be told, I don't think I've ever actually measured this out. I just kind of eyeball it. I favor these frozen diced onions. As I've said before, dicing onions is for suckers. With that going, we're going to brown some sausage. I have this onion nice and caramelized, amber color with some dark amber spots. So now I'm going to turn down the heat to about 3 or medium low. I'm going to move my sausage over. I'll get all those yummy onions into the sausage. So now we've got our sausage and our caramelized onions combined in the pot that we're going to make the sauce in. I've got 8 grams of fresh ground black pepper. It's very important that you grind that fresh. I've got a teaspoon of ground chipotle. I've got 1 bay leaf, 1 teaspoon of thyme, 2 teaspoons of oregano, 1 teaspoon of marjoram. That's all going in. This is 8 grams of fresh basil, 4 grams fresh rosemary, and it's 4 or 5 cloves of garlic. And there's also 4 leaves of fresh sage. All these aromatic herbs that just went in, and the black pepper and so on, all the compounds that are flavorful in those are fat soluble. Because they're fat soluble, that's why we're adding them now to this mixture of sausage and caramelized onion. And we're going to let that get happy for just a little bit before we add our tomato sauce. That's so that those yummy flavors can bond with those fats and or be extracted by those fats. And okay, we're going to add the tomatoes. I use the no salt added. That is because the cheese that we are going to use for this recipe is going to bring a lot of salt to the table. I used 2 of these little 6-ounce cans of tomato paste. Tomato paste is going to bring a lot of rich tomato flavor to the table, and you're going to want that in this epic lasagna. We're going to turn that heat up to medium heat and mix this all in. I wish you guys could smell this. It smells amazing. Okay, this is on low heat and it's simmering. We're going to let it sit here for 2 to 3 hours and simmer. Then it'll go into the refrigerator where it'll sit for a couple days. As the chef told me at work, the magic happens in the refrigerator. As you're cooking this and simmering it, you extract a lot of flavors, but it seems like when you then chill it down and let it sit, that continues to meld and become a rounder flavor. Likewise, once we assemble the lasagna, we will take and let that sit at least overnight assembled before we bake it off. Typically, if I'm making lasagna for a Saturday, if I've got some kind of a function that, you know, lasagna is an important meal. You don't just make it for everything. It's a very special occasion. I'll start out on Monday and I'll make the sauce. On Wednesday, I'm going to assemble the lasagna, and then it'll sit in the refrigerator, and I'll bake that son of a bitch off on Saturday, and that's going to be some epic lasagna. This one we're making today, I think we're actually going to stick in the freezer once it's assembled. That works really well, and then you bring it out, thaw it out, and bake it off. And we'll bake it off for my birthday, because what is more special than old Magnus T. Böner's birthday? So I've got my Parmesan Reggiano cheese here, and I'm going to need 4 ounces of that, and I'm going to shred that up with this microplane. These are really handy. Work great for shredding this cheese. Now we're going to make the cheese filling. We've got 3 cheeses. We've got shredded fresh mozzarella. We've got shredded Picante Provolone from Boar's Head, and then we have shredded Parmesan Reggiano. So that's 4 ounces, 3/4 of a pound, and 3/4 of a pound. So in this bowl, we're going to put in our fresh mozzarella, our Parmesan Reggiano, and then of course we have 15 ounces of ricotta. You'll notice the color of those yolks. That's because these are farm fresh eggs. They're much better than that crap you get at the grocery store. Now I've got my sauce. It's been sitting in the refrigerator overnight, getting happy. I'm going to add a couple spoonfuls here into this. All that does is it makes that stuff more spreadable when it comes time to make the lasagna. So now I'm just going to get my hand in here and combine this all together and make it happy. We will mix this really well until it's nice and homogeneous. We want those cheeses mixed very well and combined. Okay, now it's time to build the lasagna. I've got my oven ready lasagna noodles. I like these, you don't have to boil them. So we start out by putting some sauce, just enough to cover the bottom of the pan. Alright, we got that nice layer. Now we'll do a layer of noodles. Just like that. So I like to keep one hand clean and the other doing the work. Thing to remember is as this bakes off, this cheese is going to melt and spread out. So I think we actually want to be putting the cheese down first. So when we layer this, it's noodle, cheese, sauce, noodle, cheese, sauce, and that way we end with sauce, and then we'll finish it by putting some grated fresh mozzarella on top of it, as well as some more Parmesan and some fresh basil. Oh yeah, look at that, that is beautiful. So now I've got some fresh basil, and I like to tear this up over this last layer. there. That's beautiful. There it is. That is one beautiful lasagna. We're going to cover that with foil. It gets baked in a 375-degree oven. I'm going to cover it in foil, and I'm actually going to freeze it, and then we'll bake it off on my birthday. Alright, we're over at Brother Bob's house, and we're going to bake off this lasagna. We set the oven at what temperature?
375.
375, so hopefully it's actually 375. This is going to bake for 40 minutes with a cover on it, 13 minutes uncovered. Alright, this thing's been baking off for 50 minutes. Let's take a look and see if it's ready.
50? It's been an hour and 50.
Shut up, sucker! Oh my god, look at that. I want to shove it right in my mouth hole. Oh my god, that's amazing. We're going to rest this for 15 minutes and we'll cut into it.
That'll make it a solid 2 hours.
Alright, we're going to blow on this. I'm going to send it home. Oh my god. That is so good. It's creamy and it fills your mouth with cream. That cheese is so rich. I get the spice from the chipotle pepper and that lovely fresh basil. Oh my god, that's just amazing.
The home version. Pretty dry. What we have is there.
We're going to top it by Pilsner and go stuff this in our face hole.
Yeah. You don't see her in it.
Alright,
Unless you want to stick together.
I've just stolen Magnus Böner's camera and I'm going to shoot some food porn on it so that when he sees it, he'll be surprised.
Oh god, that'll be worse.
I'm eating his lasagna.
You do that, Josh.
That is so delicious. Oh my god, Böner, you have the best lasagna ever. It's just all in my mouth right now. Oh my god. Well, let's do one more.
What's he doing?
Have you not seen his YouTube channel?
I've watched a few of them, but
Don't forget to subscribe, share this with your buddies, and if you have any questions, go ahead and shoot me an email and we'll have you making good lasagna in no time.